Which NFL teams were the biggest winners of this year's NFL free agency? What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch here, back with a NFL free agency video. This video is my 5 free agency winners. These 5 teams knocked it out of the park. They added to their biggest needs, and they improved their football teams the most for this upcoming NFL season. Before I give you my 5 biggest winners of free agency, make sure that you do spike that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more BLV NFL free agency content and a lot more just like this. Also, pop in that comment section and let me know how you feel. Do you agree with my 5 winners of free agency? Do you have a team that I didn't include on my 5 teams list that you would include? Let me know in the comment section below, and let's get to the 5 free agency winners. The Miami Dolphins added 2 massively significant players to their offense to help Tua enter this season as the year where, as Dolphins fans, you're trying to figure out if he really is your franchise quarterback. So what do the Dolphins do? They get arguably the best receiver in the NFL, in my opinion, the most electric game changer in the league, in Tyreek Hill. They trade for him from the Kansas City Chiefs. That gives you a weapon, no matter where you place him on the field, slot, perimeter, in the backfield. Tyreek Hill can score a touchdown from anywhere on the field. He changes the math of your offense. He changes the way that a defense is going to defend you, and he's going to give you an ultimate weapon for Mike McDaniel and Tua to utilize offensively. The other guy that I'm discussing here is Teron Armstead. Armstead is an absolute home run pickup for whoever was going to sign him, because he's the type of player that's instantly going to improve any football team. He's been an all-pro caliber tackle for the last at least half decade and has been one of the best tackles in the NFL. He's great for this scheme. He has enough movement ability to be great in this zone running scheme of Mike McDaniel. He's also a superb pass blocker to protect Tua, and the left tackle position has been a big problem for Miami for a couple, maybe even more than a couple seasons. So getting somebody of that stature was absolutely huge. On top of that, you get 2 electric running backs, Chase Edmonds, who I love as a receiver specifically. You can move him around as a chess piece, and he can really attack defenses as that receiving element. Raheem Mostert, he's a track star. The guy is a home run hitter. And what you've done in Miami with Tyreek Hill, Raheem Mostert, Chase Edmonds, of course you already have Jalen Waddle and more, you are going to attack teams offensively with speed and with players that can create after the catch and can just explode and create massive big chunk plays, which is huge when you have a quarterback like Tua. He is not exactly the playmaker type. He's supposed to be the distributor. Get the football to these playmakers and let them do the damage. You also bring in an intriguing pickup of Alec Ingold from the Raiders, the fullback, who I think is going to really help this team in terms of power football and in terms of what Mike McDaniel wants to be able to do, just running the rock with some power. And that is going to be huge for them to be more multi-dimensional offensively. Connor Williams is also not a bad add to the interior offensive line as a younger player that has produced as a starter for the Cowboys and is going to improve a bad position of the guard position for Miami. And then the re-signing that I really love is Emmanuel Ogbah. I didn't think they were going to be able to pay him. I thought they were going to let him walk, but getting him back is absolutely massive for their team, as he's been their biggest front 7 difference maker over the last couple of years. A scheme change might change things for Ogbah, but I think he's a really good football player that you had to keep around. Plus, their losses, nobody of big significance. You would have liked to have Justin Coleman back as your nickel corner, but I don't think that absolutely breaks your back in any way, shape, or form. So the Miami Dolphins are certainly a big-time winner. Let's stay in the AFC East because the next winner on my list is the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills were the top team, according to Vegas, on their Super Bowl odds pre-free agency, and I feel like they got better while some of their main competitors got worse. So that is a huge factor for me with the Buffalo Bills. They make a Super Bowl caliber team even better. You have arguably the best quarterback in football, but you need to surround him with a quality team to win a Super Bowl. And the Bills have had a quality team, but this might be the best roster they have ever had entering a season with Josh Allen. So looking at what they were able to add here, Shaq Lawson, you get back Jordan Phillips, two guys that are familiar with the defense, familiar with the scheme, have produced within Sean McDermott, Leslie Frazier's defense, and that is really going to help you just in terms of your depth up front. The rotation is going to be stronger this year with two players that have produced for you in the past. Now, the big one is Von Miller. We know what Von Miller can do on the big stage in a big game. He comes to play, he disrupts, he destroys, and he conquers. And Von Miller could be the difference between what the Bills were last year and what they could be this year. They needed that pass rusher, that edge guy, to just make that key play in the big moment. And Von Miller is being paid to do just that. On top of that, he's an excellent leader, he has championship experience, and he feels like that you add to an already good team to give them more confidence that they can really be this champion. Because Von Miller can really just ignite the entire team to understand and give them enough confidence and push that they are really that good. So Von Miller, I think, is a great move not only on the field, but also off the field. Offensive line-wise, Roger Saffold is a phenomenal move here. You get back Mitch Morse, who you re-signed, but Roger Saffold, I feel, is going to be a huge addition to this team in terms of his ability to run block. He's been an excellent run blocker the last few years for the Tennessee Titans. Also with the Rams a while ago, but he's been around. He's definitely another veteran. And they got him at a pretty cheap rate, replacing Darrell Williams, who was more of a tackle converted to guard. Saffold is a true guard who can move people around and can have an impact in the running game. I like the low-key addition of Duke Johnson as a receiving running back who can make plays after the catch. Jamison Crowder is going to give you more of a vertical element from the slot, replacing Cole Beasley. And you do get a quality backup tight end in O.J. Howard and quality backup quarterback in Case Keenum. I'm very intrigued to see how O.J. Howard does because he wasn't very good last year for Tampa Bay. But he still has that athleticism where he could contribute a few plays every game and could definitely be a nice role player for that offense. So that's a ton of adds. Also, Daquan Jones, Tim Settle, just quality guys adding to the depth of the defensive line and some big bodies in the mix. Where the Bills struggled most was defending the run against these power running teams like the Colts, and Tim Settle and Daquan Jones also help that as well. Looking at some of the losses, there's certainly more here than Miami, but it's nothing too significant as you basically upgrade from Harrison Phillips. Levi Wallace was kind of that go-to number 2 corner for you, but I think it was time to move on for a potential upgrade, especially in terms of athleticism and speed. And then Cole Beasley will be missed, but Cole Beasley last year was not the Cole Beasley that he was really, really good in 2020. So there's losses there. There's guys that have been reliable and effective for this team, but I don't think they have lost anybody that they have not already replaced or that they won't replace in the draft to even a greater quality of player. So the Buffalo Bills to me are a contender that got even better and have put themselves in a position in a very difficult AFC to be the top dog. My third free agency winner is the Las Vegas Raiders. And as you can see by the graphic, I had to make the Raiders font smaller. That is how many players they added this offseason. It's ridiculous. They added a ton of depth, and this is a Raiders team coaching staff that is going to go through a transformation from a scheme perspective on both sides of the football. So you knew that they were going to look to add the players that fit their schemes the best, but also look to improve. I wasn't quite sure what we were going to get from the Raiders, if they were going to try to take a step back, maybe trade Derek Carr, and just fade the whole loading up arms race of the AFC West, or if they were going to go all in and really challenge to win right away. And for Josh McDaniels, he's been waiting for his break as a head coach, and he's been waiting for the absolute perfect moment. And I just feel like he's going all in to win right away, and he's taking his chances. And this front office, this new regime is taking their chances, but they're making very nice ads and they're making calculated moves. I really love getting Davante Adams because not only is he a phenomenal player and does he have chemistry with Derek Carr, yes, that helps absolutely, but he is a game changer. He's a guy that you have to respect. He's a guy you have to double team. He makes the math different for a defense and an offense, and he changes everything. This guy, for Aaron Rodgers, he just threw him the ball anytime he needed to play, and Derek Carr, he's going to have that, and then on top of that, it's going to be so much more difficult to cover everybody else on the field, especially within a calculated passing offense of Josh McDaniels, with Hunter Renfrow in the slot playing that, Wes Welker type role, Darren Waller being his Gronkowski in a way. You have so many weapons now with Davante Adams being that guy that attracts the attention that Derek Carr is going to thrive because of it. You take a good quarterback with the weaponry around him now, you could potentially make him an elite player with this type of offense around him. So that is such a difference maker to me. But not only that, you add Demarcus Robinson, who's a quality depth receiver. You add Mac Hollins, who's a great special teams player and can play a little bit of wide receiver in depth situations. But then you add to the rest of the offense. Jakob Johnson gives you a power old school fullback who's going to smash you in the face. That's going to help, I think, Josh Jacobs in the running game. He's not the receiver that Alec Ingold is. He's not the athlete, but they don't really utilize him in that way. Being a Patriots fan, Josh McDaniels loves the power fullback. That's exactly what Johnson is. Amir Abdullah, Brandon Bolden, these are depth signings, but Brandon Bolden is a great leader, a great special teams player. He's been there, he's done that, he's won Super Bowls, he's a champion. Jacob Hollister, he's a depth addition as well, but does have some talent as a receiver. But defensively, you look at some of the nice additions that are a little bit low-key. Nichols had his best season ever with the Bears last year, and I felt just came onto the scene with some injuries and nonsense going on in Chicago. He stood out in their interior defensive line, and he perfectly fits this scheme. And what I noticed with their additions for the Raiders is how they're trying to mold their players and finding particular ads that do definitely fit this style of defense. Jayon Brown is a great example of that, who played under Mike Vrabel in Tennessee. So there's some carryover there, but Jayon Brown's one of the best cover linebackers in football. He's a great athlete. He can get after the quarterback, blitzing as well. 6-sack season in his past. He's always been one of my favorites. He's a versatile piece that I think is going to improve the middle of that defense. Anthony Everett is one of my favorite free agents this offseason as a man cover corner that's going to fit their system extremely well on the perimeter. And if he doesn't start, he's a great depth addition. Rock Ya-Sin, through the trade for Yannick Ngakoue, is a guy that I feel was out of place with the Colts, but plays good press man coverage and might improve in this system. Deron Harmon, another guy from New England who's won 3 Super Bowls, who's been to 4, who's a great third safety, who's a ball hawk, who's a deep free safety that's going to help their young safeties develop and put them in the right places to succeed. And then Chandler Jones. Chandler Jones is just a sack artist. He's a difference maker. He gets you the football. He makes big plays, and he's the perfect complement at this stage of his career to somebody like Max Crosby. So those additions off the charts. I absolutely love basically all of them. And then the losses, you look at them and there's some significant names. Casey Hayward, Quentin Jefferson, I thought played well for them. Yannick Ngakoue is a big name, but they don't fit what they're doing now. So that's what you have to take into account if you're a Raiders fan. Don't get caught up in the names and what they were for you, because the schemes are entirely different and entirely opposite ends of the spectrum. They were never going to be a part of the Raiders this year. And then also getting and extending Max Crosby sends a great message for the Raiders. And Illuminor is somebody that keep an eye on him because he did play for McDaniel's offense in New England, and he could even see some starting time. I wouldn't be too surprised by that whatsoever. So the Raiders have done an absolutely awesome job turning over a roster and getting players that fit their system. But on top of that, getting superstar game-changing players that are putting them on a different tier and a different level of how good this team is really going to be. My fourth free agency winner is the Los Angeles Chargers. Chargers! And there's not that many moves here. In fact, I actually have more losses on the board than adds, but it's the quality that the Chargers have added to their team. They're already a good team. They're already a team that was in a position to make the playoffs. They just missed out. They already have an elite quarterback. They have a promising head coach. They have multiple promising players from Derwin James to Joey Bosa. I love Asante Samuel as a young corner, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler. The list goes on. They have pieces there of a foundation that is strong. It's about filling out the rest of that team, and Sebastian Joseph-Day is going to help them defend the run. Austin Johnson's a monster. I think super underrated ad from the Giants that can play the run or the pass as an interior lineman. Those two guys improved their biggest weakness from a year ago on defense and fit Brandon Staley's scheme perfectly from a personnel standpoint, which was a big problem for them. They didn't have those type of bodies on their roster last year, which was why Brandon Staley's defense struggled so heavily. You get a number one corner in J.C. Jackson, arguably the best in the game, who could play zone, he could play man, he's great in press coverage, he has superb ball skills, he has confidence and swagger that's going to just flow through the defense, and Khalil Mack is an Hall of Fame player. I mean, he's phenomenal, and he is going to form an absolute demon of a tandem with Joey Bosa off the edge, and he's also excellent versus the run, and now he's maybe the second best pass rusher on this team, which we've never really seen that from Khalil Mack, seeing a guy with equal value on the opposite side. What is he going to be able to do? How is he going to be able to dominate? Plus, he has familiarity with the coach already, so they know how to utilize him. And Gerald Everett's not a bad kind of the same quality as Jared Cook, but younger and just as athletic, and maybe he's got potential, right? So you could squeeze that out of him with somebody like Justin Herbert. They've been looking for a tight end for Justin Herbert. I do think there are definitely places where they could still improve, but I would look to the draft for that. I love that they didn't give away their first round pick. That is absolutely huge for them. They didn't give away their first round pick. They kept that, so they're still going to be able to use that on a high priority asset. Re-signings, getting Mike Williams back was big. I like Christian Covington coming back. Losses, White was a little bit surprising given their lack of ability at linebacker, but maybe he's not quite their style of linebacker. Brian Bulaga never really worked out for them, that signing. Nwosu is a good football player, but he maybe got a lot of money from the Seattle Seahawks that was out of their price range, especially after getting Khalil Mack. And so the Chargers, I do feel, have just put them in a position as a real contender now. They added two absolutely elite players, and then the two other players, Sebastian Joseph-Day, Austin Johnson, are huge for their biggest weakness a year ago, and Gerald Everett is a nice added tight end. So I just feel like who they added is such of a level of quality that it hits it out of the park and puts them in a position as a true AFC contender. The fifth and final winner of my free agency winners video is the Denver Broncos. Russell Wilson. They needed a quarterback. They've been searching for a quarterback, a franchise level quarterback, an elite playmaker at this position. Russell Wilson is all of it and more. He is a Hall of Famer. He is a Hall of Fame on and off the field quarterback, and he is going to elevate this franchise, this team, this offense, everybody around him. Russell Wilson is on a mission to win, and now he's your quarterback. Russell Wilson is a huge get for this team. Absolutely huge, because the Broncos they can't find a quarterback. They haven't been able to do it, so they just paid for it, and it's worth it. It's worth it when you get that level of player who's still in his prime. I love the low-key additions to their offensive line of Tom Compton and Billy Turner. Both are capable of starting at right tackle, but both also offer versatility. So the Broncos have dealt with some injuries on their offensive line in recent history, and those players can kind of fill in spots that they need to be filled in. They also are familiar with the same offense that they're going to be a part of in Denver. Randy Gregory, he has a huge upside, a huge ceiling. He could be an absolute game wrecker from the edge, and he can steal a game, wreck a game, and be that difference maker that a defense like this needs on the opposite side of Bradley Chubb. DJ Jones is super underrated, one of the best run defenders in football. The Broncos struggled versus the run last year in a big way, a lot of the times just getting pushed around, and DJ Jones will not allow that any longer. He's also a good replacement for Shelby Harris, an every down player, an every game player, not like Shelby Harris. Alex Singleton's a nice depth linebacker who has some special teams value, and Kwan Williams is a great nickel corner who's consistent, well-rounded, and fits this new scheme of the Denver Broncos defense. Josh Johnson is also a sort of dollar store version of Russell Wilson, so it's nice to have him as a backup quarterback. Now, the losses, the cornerback position is the most notable because you had such a great defensive backfield on paper last year. It never really turned out that way because of injuries and stuff like that, but that's certainly notable. You would have liked to have had those guys back. Shelby Harris was a good player, but I think DJ Jones is a better player. Noah Fant, great young tight end, but never really truly developed. It would have been nice to have him with Russell Wilson, but tight end is definitely replaceable. Bobby Massey, you've already replaced him. So I don't really look at any of the losses and say they're nothing that you can't overcome. There would have been pieces there that you would have liked to have back, but to get Russell Wilson, giving away Harris and Fant is certainly worth doing so. I like that they got Josie Jewell back. I like that they brought back Malik Reed for sure. Those are two key contributors for their defense in 2022. The Broncos are absolutely positively a huge winner of the 2022 NFL free agency. Those are my 5 free agency winners of 2022. Let me know yours in the comment section below. Appreciate everybody watching this. Don't forget to Gronk spike the like button and subscribe to the Bottom Line View for more NFL offseason content just like this. See ya in the next video. Peace.